Hey everybody, I'm back with another video. So, the topic of this video. Now, before I get into the content, I just want to say that this video is for entertainment and educational purposes only. I am not making this video for any discrimination or hate speech towards anybody of race, color, gender, orientation, etc. The copyright is in the description below, in the description box. And share, comment, and subscribe. All right, now we're going to go ahead and get into the content for the video. So this video is pretty much called "My Date Was a Bust." This is what had happened, right? So I was on tag Sunday because it's March of 2024, right? It's March 2024, and I'm on tag on a Sunday. And Tag is an online dating app, social media app, whatever you want to call it. And what happened was, there was this woman that came in the comment section on my live. And what happened is that, well, I guess she just came into the comment section on my live and she was just talking up a conversation. We was chopping it up for like an hour. And, the stuff that she was saying, it kind of made me feel like that, she was pretty much standing against the feminist agenda, and basically she's pretty much a traditional woman, and this is that the third. And she was saying stuff like how single moms and fat chicks and women that don't have no job make it hard for real women that's looking for real men to date real women who have jobs and work every day. Okay. So I was like, well, shit, gold diggers have jobs too. Gold diggers get married too, So it don't really even matter. But anyway, like I was saying, so I guess the following Monday, I woke up. It was Monday morning. And I checked my inbox on Tag, and this woman was she sent me messages talking about some stuff like why is it that you won't give me a chance, or why won't you ask me out and take me out somewhere, LOL. And she said that jokingly. She was flirting with me by saying, oh, well, why is it that you haven't asked me out yet? Why haven't you taken me out somewhere? And I was like, well, I thought that you told me Sunday that you had a man. She said that her ex-boyfriend was a guy that's 15 years older than her, and he's single with no kids. And that she's single with no kids, but she just got out of a relationship with a guy who got her pregnant, and she had a miscarriage. So she's 22 with no kids. Her ex-boyfriend is 15 years older than her. He's 37 with no kids. I'm 32 with no kids, right? So I told the woman, I thought you said you had a man. She's like, no, I don't have a man. I said that I was with my ex and I was just sleeping with him, but we broke up and stuff like that. That's what she said. That's what she told me. So then what happened was, she had asked me for my phone number. I'm like, okay, well, yeah, you can have my phone number. And so we had ended up calling each other on FaceTime. We was talking on FaceTime for like an hour. And she was telling me this stuff about how she's pretty much, she lives in a house. She lives with her parents, but her parents are married. And she had her car, but she had got into a wreck a few weeks before that Sunday. Then not only that, she has a job. But other than that, she just seemed like a good, decent woman to me because, she was just saying mature things and she just came off as mature or whatever. The only thing that I noticed about her is that I saw her like smoking and vaping on FaceTime or whatever, right? I didn't think nothing much of it because, she's a black woman. Like, what black woman in this country doesn't smoke or vape or do anything smoking? You know what I mean? So I'm used to black women smoking and vaping. A little shit like that. And so she was like, well, like maybe we could probably go out on a date tonight or some shit like that. And I'm like, well, I mean, that probably would be a good idea to meet up, but we barely even been talking for 2 days. Like, shouldn't we just like talk for maybe like 2 or 3 weeks before we can meet each other in real life? And she's like, no, like we're grown. We can do whatever we want to. It doesn't matter. And I'm like, okay then, okay. Well, if she wants to see me that badly and she wants to meet up with me in real life, then so be it. I'll meet up with her in real life. So later on that Monday evening, I called her like she told me to, and I called her to see if she was ready to go out on a date later on tonight. She said, "Yeah, I'll be ready. I'll be on my way home." Da 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 da. She got to get dressed. She got to shower. She got to get ready. All this stuff. So what happened was I wasn't ready. So I was fixing to get ready and stuff like that. And by the time I was ready, it was already past 8 o'clock. I was supposed to have been there at 8:30. All right. And I pretty much got in my car. I drove 30 minutes across town because she lives on the other side of town. So I drove 30 minutes across town. I was halfway there, and then I called her. I was like, "Well, are you ready?" And she was like, "Well, no, I'm not ready yet. I just got out the shower, or whatever. I'm still trying to prepare my clothes." I'm like, "Oh shit." So what had happened was I had pulled into a parking lot of a grocery store, which was pretty much connected to the parking lot of an Olive Garden. So I'm waiting in the parking lot for like 15 minutes for this woman to get ready because I don't want to just arrive there at her house some 15 minutes early. And then now I'm just like, getting agitated and frustrated, waiting 20 minutes for her to come out. And I end up coming to her house too early. So while I was waiting in the parking lot, I called her again to see if she was ready. She's like, "Well, how far are you?" I'm like, "Well, I'm like 15 minutes away because I haven't showed up at her house yet because I was trying to avoid coming to her house early." So then I pretty much, drove the remaining 15 minutes to her house. I came up to her house. I know I'm long-winded with these stories, but I just want everybody to understand the story detail by detail. So I pulled up at her house and it was like 8:30 or whatever. I think it was 8:40. And I called her. I'm like, "Well, are you ready? Because I already just pulled up at your house." And she's like, "Well, no, I'm not ready. So I'll be out in 5 minutes." So I waited 5 minutes. I was in a driveway in my car waiting. She comes out 5 minutes later, and she gets into my car, but then she pretty much was kind of annoyed because I had junk on my floor on the passenger side of my car. So I had to move my stuff out the way. I forgot to do that before I left home. So, I was like, so I was just talking to her for a little bit before we pulled out the driveway or whatever. She seemed to be pretty happy to see me. And we were just chilling, just vibing. So I pulled off. We left our house. I took the expressway. I pretty much drove 30 minutes on the other side of town back to where I live or whatever, and we went to a bar there. But like during the drive there, we was listening to music. She wanted to play music on her phone through my Bluetooth, my car Bluetooth, that type of shit. Yeah. So so like we was just chilling and vibing, had a little conversation on the way there, and then we arrived at the bar. She was wearing high heels and she was wearing blue jeans and a tank top, a colorful tank top. And yeah, she was dark skinned and thick. You know what I mean? She a short, dark skinned, thick girl. You know what I mean? She wearing high heels. So we arrived at the bar, right? We was pretty much going to a social club, like where you just get drinks and shit. So we got out the car, we walked towards the building. Her feet was already aching her, and I was like, "Well, why'd you wear high heels?" She was like, "Well, I wasn't expecting us to do all this walking." I'm like, "I'm sorry, but I parked as close to the building as I could, you know." And mind you, it's a Monday night, so nobody's not really out like that in the city. So, let me see here. So we went into the social club. We went to the bar, and I bought her a drink. The drink was $10. Okay. But the cafeteria and the food restaurants were pretty much closed, like, little shit like that. So, we decided, that we were just hungry. We wanted to just go to a restaurant and get something to eat. Okay, so we decided to go to this restaurant called Logie's. And like we left the bar, we walked back to the car. The woman, she pretty much took her high heels off and she walked barefoot from the building to the car because her feet was aching her. She wasn't expecting to do all that walking. So we got in the car. We pretty much turned on some music. We was vibing. We just did a little chit chat or whatever here and there. And so I had to drive 30 minutes right back on the other side of town again to the restaurant. And so like we got to the restaurant, I parked the car in the parking lot of the restaurant. We ended up sitting in the car for like 30 minutes just vibing, chilling, listening to music or whatever. Cause I mean she wasn't ready to get out the car for some reason. So we just sitting in the car, chilling. Then after that, we got out the car, we went into the restaurant, and she ordered herself a drink. And this is her second drink for the night. And then she ordered 2 shots for me and her. I took 1 shot. She took another shot. She took a shot for herself. So really, she had 2 drinks and 1 shot the whole night, and I've only had 1 shot because I'm the driver. So I can't really just be drinking like that. And she ordered a cheeseburger, some fries, and I ordered a chicken quesadilla with fries. So this restaurant that we was at, it was an American restaurant, but everything on the menu was no more than $10. So it was good food. It was cheap or whatever. She was vaping and stuff while she was on her phone, and I'm over here, I'm eating, and I'm on my phone too. Like we were still chit chat with each other, and she was asking me like, why is it that you don't go out on dates often? Like, why you don't take women out on dates often? I told her, well, I'm always talking to a different woman every 3 months. Because, like most of these women, they really don't want to go nowhere. They're not looking for nothing serious. They just want to chill out and fuck and all this other shit, Like these women, they just want to just talk for like a good 2 or 3 weeks and then just start ghosting you. You never hear from those women again. They just cut you off and you just be like, well, we had a good conversation the first 3 days. So why is it that I don't get to hear from you a week later? You know what I mean? That type of thing. And that's what I was trying to explain to her. It's just like, you can't just meet a woman on dating apps and, you talk consistently with this woman every day for a good 30 days straight. You can't even talk to a woman 5 days straight without her ended up ghosting you and you never hear from her again. And so she had brought up the topic that, like a lot of women who are like fat and single moms and women with no jobs, they make it so hard for real women who get up and go to work every day and stuff like that. This is then the third, da 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 da. And yeah, I mean, we vibed out or whatever. So then the waiter pretty much, we got done eating, and then I was ready to pay for the tab and go. And what happened was the mood kind of suddenly changed with the woman when we got out of the restaurant and got into the car. I don't know what the fuck it was. Because mind you, she only had 2 drinks and 1 shot, and I only had 1 shot. You understand me? So we walked out the restaurant. I got done paying the tab or whatever. And we got into the car, and her mood just suddenly changed. And she was like, okay, so I'm going to be honest with you. This is the reason why women don't like you. Women don't like you because you're a nonchalant, sarcastic asshole that just has to have the last word after everything. And I'm like, what? I'm like, where in the world did she even get this from? And I had to rethink about that shit like 3 or 4 times in my head. Like, I barely even said 3 paragraphs the whole fucking night. I mean, like I spent 4 hours with this woman on a Monday night. We went out on a date. You know what I mean? And, and I barely even said a whole conversation. I may have said maybe like 2 or 3 conversations here and there, but really I spent more time on the date driving us from one place to another than I did me really just asking to get to know her like that. You know what I mean? And then, like when she got into my car, when she got in my car when she got in my car when we had left that bar, the first place that we went to, she was asking and begging me to if she could smoke in my car. I'm like, I don't mind. I don't mind you smoking in my car. Well, actually, I do mind it, but I'm gonna let it slide this time because, like I said, I'm used to black women smoking. It don't really bother me. It's just a respect thing. You know what I mean? So I let her smoke in my car before we pretty much came to the restaurant. So that was another thing. So I mean, I already knew that she's smoking vape or whatever, but she claimed that she quit smoking 3 months ago, but she just started smoking today. Little shit like that. Now going back to the story, so she was like, "Well, you just seem to just like always have to have the last word at the end of everything." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I mean, she just said what she said. But other than that, she says that I'm a good dude and a nice guy. Okay, so if I'm a good dude or a nice guy, so I mean, like, why are you trying to make it seem like I messed up the date or I ruined the vibe? So to me, I'm thinking in my head, did this woman just pull a 180 or a 360 on me? Because it just seemed like to me, she was just trying to find a reason to have an issue or a problem with me, or to find a reason to find something wrong with me. I'm sorry about that. I had to just take a drink of water. So anyway, um, yeah, the shit was just crazy. Cause my thing is, I asked this woman like 2 or 3 times the whole night that we was out. I asked her, "Are you enjoying yourself? Are you enjoying the vibe?" And she said, "Yeah." She was all smiles when I first picked her up. Hell, she was smiles when she got her drink. She was smiles when she had a second drink. She was smiles when she got her food. So it's like after we left the restaurant and got in the car, her mood had suddenly just changed and she just became a whole totally different person. That shit was crazy and I could feel it too. Then, I don't know, when we got in the car, I was like, man, it's chilly. It's chilly. Cause it was like 40 something degrees. You know what I mean? It was chilling. I was like, well, let's go ahead and get you home. And then that's when she had came out with, that part of the story where I said, okay, listen, I'm gonna tell you right now, you're just sarcastic, nonchalant, and you always want the last word at the end of everything. And I'm like, what? And she's like, well, that's gonna ruin the vibe with a lot of women. I'm like, okay, if you say so. So after that shit, I didn't say nothing else to the woman or nothing like that. I just pulled off in my car. I drove, left the restaurant, and I had to drive 30 minutes back to the other side of town in order to drop her off at our house. So I dropped her off at our house or whatever. We arrived at our house. But during the drive to our house, we were still just listening to music and shit. She was on her phone. I was on my phone. I'm just gonna be honest with you. We spent half the date on the phone than we were talking, you know. But other than that, I mean, we looked at each other. She smiled at me. I smiled at her. That's how the date was at first. But on the way home, I mean, we was both quiet. We didn't say nothing to each other. But you know, as soon as I got to our house, she kind of just, she looked like she had an attitude problem. She got out of the car. She got out the car as if she was tired or some shit. And I'm like, wait a minute, did I really just do something to this woman that bad to where she just, it was just crazy. It was like she was a whole different person when she got out the car when we had pulled up at our house. And I'm like, what the fuck? And the shit just crazy. And so, like before she got out the car, I was like, well, it was nice meeting you, nice, hanging out with you or whatever, little shit like that. And she was like, yeah, it was nice meeting you too. She got out the car, like I said, and looked like she was tired or like she had an attitude problem. She didn't hug me, she didn't kiss me or nothing like that. She just got out the car, closed the door, and went in the house. I I took my car out the driveway and I left her house and I drove 30 minutes all the way back to my apartment. And when I got back to my apartment, I went straight to bed. And that's pretty much the story of the date that I had recently. It's crazy. So it was 2 or 3 lessons that I learned from this date, Monday, right? Number one, when you're talking to a woman or whatever, don't take a woman out on a date if you have not been talking to each other for 3 weeks every day over the phone, off the app, off social media. If you have not been talking to a woman 3 weeks over the phone, off the app, off social media or whatever, don't take no woman nowhere. Okay? I took a woman out on a date whom I only knew barely 2 days. It was barely 2 days that we knew each other, and I met her in real life, and this is exactly what the fuck had happened. Okay, and then another lesson that I learned is if a woman has had 2 or 3 drinks, don't say nothing to her. Don't even try to even have a conversation with her. Don't say nothing. Just let that woman have her drinks and let that just be it. And just sit back and chill. Don't say nothing unless being spoken to. Speak when being spoken to. Okay, that's another lesson that I learned when dating women. All right. So other than that, it was a hard lesson learned, and I was pretty much out of $65 to $75 that whole night during the date. So I spent $65 to $75 in one night taking a woman on a date for 4 hours. And that's just about it, though. That's just about it. Just crazy. But other than that, that's all I got to say. I thank everybody for listening. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. If you have any opinions, just leave it in the comment section below. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And I thank you.